Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the TradeStation webinar. This is a getting started with TradeStation class. So we're going to highlight some of the functionality inside of the TradeStation desktop that is going to help you get started with the platform. And this is also a great opportunity for you to ask questions about any features that you're interested in and you still haven't found a lot of good information on it. So let's get started. There's some disclosures that I have to go through before we jump into today's topic. Just keep in mind that every idea or every symbol that I talk about is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations of TradeStation. Also, that active trading is not suitable for everyone. It should only be done with risk capital, and that past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. For anybody that needs additional information on these disclosures, just go to www.tradestation.com/important information. All right, guys, thank you for being here. The chat is open, so make sure that you pull it up and send any comments or questions as we go along through the content. I do ask that you set your chat windows to everyone so that if you send a comment or a question, everybody can see it and it becomes a more interactive class, okay? So let's go ahead and switch over to the TradeStation platform. I'm going to assume that everyone here has already gone through the installation and you have it on your computers. One thing that I wanted to say before starting is that TradeStation provides you 3 different platforms. This one that I'm showing to you right now is called the TradeStation Desktop. This is the one that requires an installation on your computer, and it runs on a desktop like any other application. Like if you pull up Excel or Word, it runs like that on your computer's processor. We also provide one that is web-based. We call that web trading, and we have one that is mobile. So if you have an iPhone, you would have to go to the App Store, and if you have an Android, you go to the Play Store, and you find TradeStation mobile apps in there. And you can access your TradeStation account from any of the 3 platforms. We do other getting started classes on other applications. For example, we do one on OptionStation Pro, just because there's a lot of things we have to teach about OptionStation Pro. We dedicated a whole class to that. And we also do a class on Futures Plus. So those are additional platforms that we provide. But just to recap, the 3 main platforms that you have access to are the desktop, the web trading platform, and the mobile apps. Today, we're going to concentrate on the desktop. When you first open up the desktop, you see this. By the way, I have to go to apps and go to TS today because I closed this workspace, and every time that I open up TradeStation, it just doesn't show up. It's a workspace that everybody sees the first time they open up TradeStation. And if you lose it, you have to come here to apps and to TS today to open it up. And that way, this is what TradeStation looks like the first time you open it. You see this workspace, and let me bring up my drawing tools. That way I can point out things on my screen. Everybody sees that workspace tab at the bottom left. Your workspaces are also going to be aligned right there at the bottom. And it's very helpful because you can just click on the tabs at the bottom and organize your TradeStation views that way. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the information here. One thing that I want to point out is events right here on the top right. So if you want to register for any upcoming events, this list right here gets updated very frequently, and you have the dates here on the right-hand side for you to see what's coming up. Okay, we have moved a lot of the masterclass content over to TradeStation, so you have access to that education. Just check out the dates there if you want to see what's coming up. We have a featured video right here on the left-hand side. We also have, our recent social posts right here in the middle. And over here on the far right, we have what's new. So if you want to check anything that's been fixed or any new enhancements, to the TradeStation platform, that's where they would show up. And over here on the bottom left, we have a section for recommended workspaces and recent workspaces. If you're just getting started with TradeStation and you're looking for ideas on how to set up your TradeStation applications, sometimes I say, open up the recommended workspaces. They are like samples that you can open up and see how the applications are organized and use that as a starting point or as a way of getting ideas on how to organize things inside of TradeStation. So if you want to open up a workspace, there is what happened there? Yeah, that's strange. It's just not. Okay, so that was strange. If you want to create a new workspace, there's a little plus right there at the bottom, which is very convenient for you to do that. So let me go ahead and do that. Open up a new workspace. You can see that it says untitled workspace right there on the tab because I haven't saved it. That's what untitled means. As you become familiar with the TradeStation platform and you start organizing your applications, you're going to want to save your workspaces so that when you pull up the TradeStation platform, you got everything the same way you left it when you used it last. So right here in the very top, I'm going to hover over apps and you see this big menu with all the different buttons you can click on to open applications within TradeStation. Today, we'll only have some time to click on a few, but I'm going to talk about the ones that people use the most. Let's start off with charting. I'm going to click on chart analysis. This opens up a chart window. I can take this chart and grab it by the title bar and move it anywhere inside of my desktop. I can click on any of its corners and resize it to any form and shape that I want. Now, this is convenient. Sometimes if you want to make some of the applications a little bit bigger than others, maybe you have a watch list that you want to run vertically on one side of the screen, you have full control over how you want to organize these applications. If I were to go to apps and click on chart analysis again, I get a second chart window and I can move these charts side and put them side to side anywhere I want, which is very customizable. And that's one of the things that TradeStation really prides itself on, that we provide you a platform which you can customize to fit your trading style. Now, if you don't want to do this manually, we have some auto arrange features up here. So if I go to window and I click on arrange all, you can see that my workspace is automatically arranged for me. The two charts that I opened are organized, side by side, and they fill all the space that is available on the workspace. That's what auto arrange does. And it also allows you to, do some minor adjustments if you need to do that. Okay. So I wanted to show you a little bit of that because that's where we get started. That's how you get, started with using the platform and navigating through it. But let me go ahead and close one of these chart windows because I'm just going to talk about one, and I don't want to overcomplicate things. One thing that I just did is pressing the up arrow and the down arrow. These are the keys on the keyboard. Up arrow, down arrow on the keyboard. Make sure you find them because they're going to become very useful to squeeze the chart and expand it. If I do the down arrow, notice that my chart squeezes all the data in, and I'm able to see more historical data. Now, if I want to see more detail and I want to expand the view, I just press the up arrow multiple times, and it does the opposite effect where you see more space between candles, and this allows you to see a little bit more detail. All right. Right here on the top left, we see the symbol. I'm looking at Apple at the moment, and you can see that I'm looking at a daily time frame. By default, TradeStation opens up a 5-minute chart, but you can come here to this time frame drop down and select a different time frame. For example, if I go here to 60-minute, now I'm looking at a 60-minute chart of Apple. The very first bar, the very last bar, to be more specific, is what's happening right now. This is the first hour of the market today. Today's November 30th. We see the session breaks also on the chart. All these dotted lines you see running vertically, that divides the session. So I can see, today I see yesterday, this is Monday right here, and this is the day after Thanksgiving, November 25th. So yeah, I mean, you look at the chart and a lot of the things are kind of intuitive and kind of self-explanatory. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to change the symbol, because that's something that you probably want to do many times, So right now I'm looking at Apple. If I want to change the chart symbol to Microsoft, let's say, all I have to do is type it in using my keyboard. You're going to notice that TradeStation is responsive to keyboard entries. So if I start typing MSFT, you can see that automatically, I see this right here. This is called the command line. It pops up automatically as soon as I start tapping or pressing keys on the keyboard. And you can see that Microsoft is inserted right there because that's what I typed in, MSFT. And all I need to do is hit the enter key to take the command. So I'm going to click or press the enter key. And you can see that the chart takes the command. And now I'm looking at a 60-minute chart of Microsoft. As easy as that. Most applications inside of TradeStation take a symbol change just like that. You just type in the new symbol, press enter, and that's it. If you're looking for something that, or a time frame that is not available here, let's say that you're looking for a 120-minute bar. The highest we have on this dropdown is 60. If I want to build a 120-minute bar, I can also type it in. I can type in 120 space MIN. I use the abbreviated form of minutes, MIN. And as soon as I type that and I hit enter, it changes the chart to a 100-minute chart. So any time frame that is not available in the time frame dropdown, you can type it in and TradeStation will take it and you can build a chart like that. By the way, if you have any questions about any of the features that I'm showing, please let me know right there in the chat. I'm glancing over at the chat as we speak, okay? So I showed you, one thing that I haven't shown you is the ability for you to squeeze the price scale here on the right. If I squeeze by clicking and dragging, notice that I can change the scale of the chart. Once I change the scale, I can move this anywhere I want. So this allows me to, expand or contract the view, move the chart around in any direction that I want. And once I'm done moving things around, one thing that I can do is hover towards the bottom of the chart, and you're going to see these 5 buttons that only show up if you bring your cursor down here. So make sure that you're bringing your cursor down at the bottom of the chart, and you get, some buttons here that allow you to do some of the things that I did, which is, expand and contract the view. But I see a reset button. So if you do changes to the chart where you change the scale and you're kind of, you want to go back to the way that the chart looked by default, just click on this reset button. Reset, and it goes back to the way that you had it. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some technical studies and some drawing tools. I'll just tell you where they are because the list is very long, and the way that you add studies and modify them is very simple, and it's the same for every other technical idea. I'm going to come here to studies. I'm going to click on add studies because that's where all the technical indicators are going to be. So indicators right here, you find things such as stochastic. If you're looking for, RSI, it's going to be right here. If you're looking for Bollinger Bands or price channels, those are all going to be listed in here. Let's use something that we're all familiar with. So I'm going to do a moving average 2-line. Something simple. I'm going to click OK, and you can see how the 2 lines are put right there on the chart. It automatically calculates. It doesn't really ask me what period or time periods I want. A lot of these technical studies have default parameters. But if I want to change this, let's suppose that I want to compare a 30 bar versus a 60 bar. I can double click on any of the lines, doesn't matter which one you double click on. And in the inputs tab of the customize indicator window, I have access to the parameters. So I can make the fast 30 and I can make the slow 60 and click OK. So that changes the calculation of the study. Now, you may see something really weird here on the left-hand side. It seems like the indicators are truncated. The reason for that is because I don't have enough historical data. So what the indicators are doing, they're using this chunk of data that is on the left-hand side to do the calculations. Remember that one of these lines needs 60 candles in order to calculate. And that's what's happening here. Those 60 candles are reserved for the calculation. And on the 61st candle, it has the ability to have a full calculation. And that's where it starts drawing. However, if you want this chart to fill up, all you need to do is load more historical data. If you look over here, if I squeeze the chart, there's black area over on the right-hand side because this is all the data that's on the chart. It goes back about maybe some 15 days, 15 or 30 days. Now I can load more data by just requesting it and typing it in. Let's say that I want to do 6 months. Take a look at what's going on here. I typed in 6 months as a command, and as I hit enter, this automatically fills in the 6 months of data. You can see that my indicators or my moving averages filled in more nicely because I have historical data. All right. Musa, I see your question about the recording of the presentation. We are moving some of our education assets over to TradeStation as we speak. I know that the registration page is still on You Can Trade, but we're going to eventually move all that over to the TradeStation website. We still don't have a location, for these archives, but let me know. Let's see what we can do, because we may have to create a playlist on YouTube to get these recordings available. Send me an email and I'll follow up, with any information that I may have if anybody wants to see the recording. Let me share my email address here with the class. All right, perfect. Now, one of the things that are built in to the indicators on TradeStation is alerting. That is something that's pre-programmed. All you need to do is turn it on. For example, on a 2-line moving average, what traders are looking for is for the lines to cross. A crossover means that there may be a shift in the trend. So if you want to be alerted of that, you can double click on any of the lines of the indicator, come here to the alerts tab and enable the alert. You can choose how you want to be alerted. If it's a pop-up window or a message or a sound, if you want to do a continuous alert or once per bar, whatever style of alert you want, yes, you can configure that. All you need to do is enable alert, click OK, and that's it. Now I have a chart that's being calculated in real time, and my indicator here is being tracked. So if my moving averages cross, I'm going to be alerted. This allows me to go to a different workspace, and you can build other things to watch here. And that other workspace that I have in the background is still working for me. Even if it's not visible, I know that it's working in the background, monitoring the price activity, and it's going to generate an alert when the moving averages cross. That's pretty cool, huh? Let me go back here to this workspace and show you one other thing. In addition to alerting on technical ideas, you probably want to be alerted on specific prices. So here, this is the data for Microsoft. And I know that a few days ago, Microsoft was trading above, $246. Right now, it's trading at $241. So let's suppose that we want to be alerted if it goes beyond $244 today. One thing that I can do is, let me open up my drawing menu and click on horizontal line. I'm going to bring a horizontal line. I'm going to click and drag here and bring my horizontal line to 244. All I need to do is double click on that horizontal line, enable the alert, and alert me continuously if it hits it. I'm going to click OK, and that's it. So very simple way for you to set up a price alert. A lot of traders, when they look at a chart, they want to draw certain levels that they're interested in. And in addition to drawing those levels with a horizontal line, you're also able to turn on an alert. So if that level gets hit, you are going to be alerted. So now I have two different alerts set up on this chart. I have the alert on the moving averages. So if they cross, I get alerted. And I also have the alert on that horizontal line that will alert me if the price touches it. So I can go here to a different workspace and do some additional analysis. It makes sense, right? So let me show you some other things that TradeStation is known for and that can help you in identifying trading opportunities. Let me go ahead and go to apps and click on radar screen. Radar screen is kind of our watch list. So right here, radar screen, I'm going to open it. And we call it radar screen because it's much more than just a regular watch list. And I'll show you what that functionality is. I'm going to come here, and you can type symbols here manually if you want to. For example, I can type in MSFT and hit enter, and it shows me, information on Microsoft. That's something you can do. Or you can insert a list. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to go to data and add a symbol list. We have a whole collection of symbol lists that are prepackaged. If you're interested in industry sectors or specific index components, you can search for those in symbol lists. In this example, I'm going to go to the NASDAQ 100. So these are all the 100 companies that make up the NASDAQ index. I selected, and then all those companies are added right here to my radar screen. Let me remove this top symbol. The top symbol is the NASDAQ index itself. So I'm just interested in the components. So I'm going to remove that symbol. Notice that at the very top, we have Apple. It's part of the NASDAQ 100, and all the symbols here are sorted alphabetically. So what I'm going to be looking for, though, is this concept that I showed you on this chart. Everybody remembers? I added a moving average 2 line. I turned on an alert, and I'm interested in knowing if Microsoft crosses in those 2 moving averages. But there's got to be a better way for me to identify stocks that are showing certain behavior. Right here in radar screen, this is the tool that allows me to do something very similar, like look for a technical idea, but on a list of symbols like this, on a large list of symbols. In this case, I have 100 symbols, and I want to know if any of these symbols are showing that alert on the moving average cross. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the plus here at the very end of the columns. This allows me to add more columns. I can also go to studies and add studies like I did on the chart. Well, let's go ahead and click on this plus. I find that very convenient. Sometimes I do things that are in the menus, but I tend to use shortcuts. Like, for example, we were on the chart. I'm not sure if you noticed. And for me to modify the parameters of the moving averages, what I did is I double clicked on a line. That's my shortcut. You could have gone to studies and edit studies, which is the way to access those dialogues through the menu. But a lot of times I use these types of shortcuts. Thank you, Manolo, for sharing the email address there as well. So send an email to tsuniversity@tradestation.com if you would want a link to the recording. Okay. Yes, Carol, thank you for that suggestion as well. Let me go ahead and add the same indicator that I added on charting. I'm going to add it right here inside of my radar screen. And this is where radar screen really stands out, because the same studies that you use in a chart, you can bring them inside of a radar screen. So this is like applying a technical indicator to hundreds of symbols simultaneously. Let me show you what the power of this is. Let me click OK. I have the 2-line moving averages calculated right here on the right-hand side. I can remove some of these columns, like bid, ask, high, and low are columns that I'm not going to be using at this moment. And I want to add myself a little bit more space because I want to have a chart here that has that same study. So I'm going to come on the workspace that I created earlier. I'm going to right click on this chart and I'm going to copy the window. How cool this is. I'm going to copy the window because I don't want to go through the trouble of creating the chart, adding the study, modifying it. So copying the window, coming to a different workspace, right click and pasting the window is a quick way for you to have a chart with exactly the same settings that you had created. I'm going to resize this chart so it's next to my radar screen, just like that. Let me remove that horizontal line. I'm going to click on it and press delete. Something very simple, and you can just press delete on anything on the chart. The time frame, I'm going to set it to 5 minutes. And I'm setting it to 5 minutes because I also have a time frame right here in radar screen. When you start dealing with technical indicators like moving averages, the time frame is a big component of that indicator because you're providing a certain time frame of data for the calculations. So these moving averages that you see here are calculated on a 5 minute time frame. So if I look at, for example, Apple, I can change the symbol here, typing it in, but I would rather link these two windows together so that if I click on any symbol here on the far left, it updates the chart automatically. Who doesn't like that, right? And that's efficiency. So at the very top of the windows, I have some buttons that allow me to link. The very first one is an S, which is a symbol link. And I'm going to turn those two on the same color. Notice that they're both green. And this is the way that we link windows together inside of TradeStation. Just set them to the same color so that if I click on Apple right here on the left-hand side, you can see that Apple gets loaded here on my chart. So if I look at the cyan, let's see, Apple 5 minute moving average to line. Okay. I also need to change the moving averages here to the default. That would be 9 and 18. That way I have matching values. So notice how the cyan line for this chart, you can see that it says 141.72. And if we look across here on the radar screen, we see that same value here calculated 141.72. For the cyan is 141.38, and it's right here on the cyan on the chart. So you can see how it matches. So it's exactly the same calculation, but here inside of radar screen, we're doing that exact same calculation, but for 100 symbols simultaneously, like having like 100 charts at the same time. What does this allow you to do? Real-time scanning, because now I'm able to ask radar screen to tell me out of all these 100 symbols, which ones are the ones that are crossing right now? Which ones are the ones that are probably giving me a good signal? And then I can pull it up in the chart to see if it's if the candlesticks agree. A lot of times, if the market is moving sideways, you get a lot of false signals on this type of study, which is a trending indicator. But a lot of times, if you have a very prominent trend and all of a sudden you get a moving average crossover, that could signal the end of the trend. And it's something that we probably need to look at. So which symbols are crossing right now? That is something that I can find out by turning on the alert right here on this column. So I'm going to right click on the header so that it applies to all the symbols. I'm going to go to studies and I'm going to edit the moving average 2 lines for all symbols. And all I need to do is in the alerts tab, enable the alert. For radar screen, I'm going to alert continuously, but I'm also going to disable messaging. So I don't want to see pop-up messages or sounds going off because I'm setting up alerts on 100 symbols. And the least I want is for my computer to be, to be hung up trying to generate all these alerts simultaneously. So no messaging. I'm going to click OK, and that's it. You can see that every so often, that's not what I wanted. Okay, I'm not sure why it opened that, but every so often, I'm going to close it in a moment. Every so often, I get this red markers. You also see like really small kind of yellow markers here on the far right of the column. That just lets you know that there's a alert enabled, but those red markers are the ones that are telling me which symbols are crossing right now on the current bar. Let me go ahead and close this print log. And I'm going to click, for example, on booking holdings, BKNG, because I have a red marker. And you can see that it generated the alert here for chart analysis too, because the moving averages are crossing on the current bar. Let's click on another one. Let's click on this one here, which is Datadog, DDOG. Take a look. The moving averages were not crossing since the beginning of the day, and all of a sudden, there we go. We got the alert here on DDOG, and you see how the crossover is happening on the current bar. Not only that, but once I have an alert turned on, I can filter my radar screen to only show the ones that are crossing right now. So let me go here to this filter bar at the very top and say, I want to filter by my moving averages, and I want the alert to be true. And here we go. So out of the 100 symbols that we put right here in radar screen, 2 are giving me a real-time alert as we speak. This is Fortnite, FTNT. You can see where I'm getting the chart analysis alert because it's turned on. So it's giving me an alert as it happens. But you can see how we can see the crossover happening in real time. Now, this is true for any technical idea that you have. I used something simple as the moving averages, but if you have a technical idea or a calculation that's going on or a signal that you created yourself, you can pretty much, build that inside of TradeStation, put it inside of Radar Screen, and have Radar Screen monitor the markets in real time and tell you if that criteria is being met or not. Okay? Any questions so far? As we go along, if you have any questions about what I'm showing, there's a great time for you to send them over. Let me go ahead and reset this. I'm gonna uncheck this so it doesn't apply anymore, because there's other filters that you can, turn on. Like for example, right here, I have my radar screen and I can sort by volume. So let me double click on volume today. And I'm going to double click again, because the first time you double click, it sorts value in ascending order. You double click again and it sorts in descending order. So you can see that very quickly, I'm able to rank symbols based on the volume. Out of the NASDAQ 100, the one that's traded the most is Tesla, trading so far close to 21 million shares. And it's only 1 hour. It's been 1 hour since the market opened. This is a stock that is not considered a cheap stock. Every share is $184, but you can see the massive amount of volume that's being traded on this particular stock. The one that follows it is Amazon with 18.2 million shares. And then we have CrowdStrike being the third one. But you can only rank symbols if you put them inside of Radar Screen and double click on any column header. Now, which one has the most drastic price change? Let me sort by net change. And you can see right here, CrowdStrike is down 18% since the close of yesterday. If I double click again, I see the one that's increased the most. Workday, WDAY, is the one that has increased the most with a 12% price increase since the close of yesterday. If you're only interested in the big movers, I can do the following. I can do, well, show me stocks. Let me go ahead and turn this back on. Show me stocks that have a percent change greater than 5. And I'm going to add another filter, plus, and, or a percent change that is less than -5. So now I'm looking at the big movers. I'm filtering my list based on percent change, and I'm only looking at the ones that have a percent change over 5, either on the negative side or the positive side, and I can see all those stocks right here. So that type of filtering is happening dynamically and is happening in real time. So as new stocks, move beyond that 5% threshold, they'll make the list, and the ones that that don't meet the criteria anymore will be removed. Okay. Napoleon, yes. There's a question here about how can we activate? Not sure what you mean by activate an 8-day exponential moving average, but if you're interested in exponential moving averages, yeah, all you need to do is come over here to studies, add study. We have some moving averages that are exponential right here, moving average exponential. We have the ones that are 2 lines, 3 lines, but this is the one that you're interested in. If you're looking for just one, is a moving average exponential. In the inputs, the length instead of an 8, instead of a 9, it would be an 8 if you're looking for an 8 period, and just click OK. Now this is an 8 period exponential moving average, but applied on a 5-minute chart. If you want to change the time frame to a daily chart, you can do that. And this is an 8-day exponential moving average on Tesla. Okay, so that's the way that you would put it on the chart if that's what you want to do. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some other trading functionality, because I want to end the class on some of the trading features that are available on TradeStation. Let me open up a new workspace, click on apps, and open up the matrix. Let me open this up a little bit. Let me change the font here so that it's a little bit more legible. So I'm going to go here to settings, window, font, and I'm going to make the font 11 bold. Okay, that's better. I'm going to open up my radar screen here. Okay, so there are different ways that you can trade inside of the TradeStation platform. The matrix is one of those windows that provides you a good view of what's happening to the markets, and also the ability for you to see how your orders relate to what's happening to the market. If you want a more traditional way to trade, we have a trade bar right here at the top, which is very intuitive and very standard when it comes to order bars. And you have all the different boxes that you can check and fill in. So that's in the trade bar at the very top. You hover over it and you get the trade bar. Well, let me show you some interesting trading functionality here and why you would want to take a look at the matrix to put in your trades. Let me go and change the symbol here to something that is not moving as fast as Tesla. Let me go here to Bank of America. And notice what I just did. I just typed it in, BAC, enter, and it changes the symbol to Bank of America. What you're looking at is, well, let's start by what's the most obvious here, the blue and the red column. The blue is where the buyers are, and the red is where the sellers are. This type of window allows you to see something that we call market depth, or level 2. You see all the orders that are sitting on the buying side and the selling side. So these numbers that are filling up my blue column, these are all the buy orders that are being submitted and that are waiting to get filled. So if you send an order to buy Bank of America at $36.20, that order is going to sit here and wait. Why? Because the price of Bank of America is $36.35 right now. It needs to drop in order to hit your price. But that submission, when you send an order, that order gets sent to the exchange, and a market maker is going to be holding that order until it gets filled. So this is some of that information that you're getting here. You see what's available inside of those books. And of course, this price right here, the one that is highlighted in gray, that's my current trading price. The values that you see on the far right, that is just the volume. So you also get a glimpse of what are the prices that are being traded the most? If you look over here on the right, you can see that there's big spikes at 36.28, at 36.26, and 36.24. Of course, the market just opened about an hour ago, so this may change as the trading activity develops, but you can see where the most prices have been. So that's a great information to have. So in order to trade, all you need to do is either join the buyers or the sellers. So let's suppose that I want to put in an order to buy Bank of America at $36.30, 36.30, right here. That's where the price is. If I want to put in a trade right there, first thing is I need to check the quantity. The quantity right now is set to 100. I can change that quantity to anything I want, and the matrix will remember the most recent number of trades or number of shares that you've traded. So if I change this, let's change this to 1,000. Okay, and the duration, it's fine, it's a day order. All I need to do is come here to 36.30, hover over the blue. It tells me that I'm going to buy 1,000 with the limit price, and all I need to do is click, and that's it. That's my working order to buy 1,000 shares of Bank of America. One thing that you probably noticed is that my confirmations are disabled. On this particular platform, yes, I disabled confirmations. If you're placing a trade on the matrix on your side, on your matrix, confirmations are going to be turned on by default. These confirmations are great because it tells you what is it that you're about to put in. So double check your quantity, double check that this is the cost that you have agreed that is going to be taken into account for your funds. So what I'm trying to say is that confirmations allow you to check for any errors. On my side, I disable confirmations just for the speed at which you can place trades. And I know a lot of traders, once they become very familiar with the trading technology, they may disable confirmations just because it turns this matrix into a one-click order entry tool. Like, for example, if I want to cancel that order, all I need is to hover over this box and click it. If I want to place that trade again, I hover over the blue and I click. The order is resubmitted. Very quickly. And I'm not leaving anywhere to adjust that order. Let's say that I change my mind and I want to change my limit price from 36.30 to 36.35. All I need to do is click on that box and drag it to the price that I want to change it to. Once I release, it cancels my original order and submits a new one. I can see what the best selling price is here is 36.40. So if I want to get executed right away, I can drop my buy order right here where the sellers are. I'm going to take my order, drop it at 36.40, order filled, and I get filled. I see a blue horizontal row telling me where I got filled at, and I see P&L on the left-hand side. Very quickly, I'm able to set stops and targets if I want to. If I want to get out, if my target reaches $150, I can just hover over the 150 and click. Now I have a selling transaction at 36.55, which gives me an approximate profit of $150. If I click that red box, I can cancel it. If I want to set a stop, I come here to a negative number, click it, that's my stop. I can adjust my stop by clicking and dragging and moving it to any location that I want, clicking and dragging. I can click on that box and cancel it. Pretty cool, huh? Very simple. And you can have a full view of your orders with what's happening to the price as well. Now, if you want to have a profit target and a stop loss all together simultaneously in the form of an OCO, if you're not familiar with OCO, it's order cancels order, you can do it with this right here, place OCO. I don't want an entry because I already have a position, but I do want an exit with one limit and one stop. That's what the abbreviation here stands for. One limit, one stop. I can check, the offset right here with the ellipsis. It tells me that the limit is 10-cent offset, and the stop is 10 cents. So it's 10 cents above and 10 cents below. I can adjust it if I want to. But if I click on place OCO, then it actually has two selling transactions that are working together for my Bank of America position. If it reaches a profit target of $100, it's going to sell the 1,000 shares, and it's going to cancel this stop right here. This is an OCO, an order cancels order. Of course, these two can also be adjusted, so I can click and drag, these to any other level that I want. And it's pretty simple. Ideally, what you want to do is send all these orders together. So if I wanted to do that, let me go ahead and cancel all my open orders. I'm going to click on this yellow button. If you have multiple active orders, it's very convenient because you can cancel all the orders for Bank of America. And I also have a very convenient close button. This is a market order to close whatever I have there. So close order sells my 1,000 shares at market, and I can submit a new trade. If I wanted to, for example, trade again at 36.30, but instead of worrying about my profit target and my stop loss, I can set those right here. So I'm going to click on this checkbox that says attach an OSO. Attach OSO means that whatever entry order that you submit will have brackets attached to them. I'll demonstrate. Let me go here to the ellipsis because I want my limit to be 25 cents and I want my stop. I'll leave my stop at 10 cents, but I wanted my target to be a little bit higher at 25 cents. I'm going to click OK. So I set those in here, and all I need to do is set my entry order. So if I submit my entry order right here at 36.30, take a look at where my target is, 36.55. That's 25 cents higher. And if I scroll down, I see my stop right here at 36.20, which is 10 cents lower. Now, these two exits, you can see that they're not in red. It's because they have not been activated. These orders are contingent on the primary getting filled. If I do get filled at 36.30 for the 1,000 shares that I want to buy, then those two exit orders will be activated and they'll be working as an OCO. Let me show you. Let me bring this target a little bit lower. I'm going to put it right here at 36.50. And then I'm going to bring my buy order over here to the selling side. I get filled, and now my stop gets activated and my target gets activated at the same time. You see how the difference in color tells you what the status of the order is? It's pretty cool. Now, in addition to looking at your trading activity here on the matrix, of course, we have other ways that you can track your trades. We have the trade manager, which is the main control center of your orders. Let me go ahead and change the font here so it's easier to see. I thought that this is all bold. Let me set as default. Okay, so the trade manager is a window that shows you everything that's happening inside of your account. This is my orders view, and it's color coded based on status of the order. If you look at the order status right here, the filled orders are blue, canceled orders are kind of yellow, and the active orders are the ones that say received. So it gives you a very good view of what's happening to all the different orders, in addition to positions. I can go to the positions tab, and these are all the positions that are working right now on this simulator. If I want to take action on any of these ones, let's say, for example, that I wanted to get rid of that put. I have 5 puts on this Apple expiring December 2nd. So before they expire, let me get rid of them. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to close this Apple position, and I'm going to say close at market. Order filled. So now notice that it shows as flat. So it gives me an indication that I got out, and you have this control over your positions right here from the trade manager window. All right, so I don't want to overwhelm you with everything that's happening here on the TradeStation desktop because I know that there's a lot. So just to recap, some of the most common tools that every trader uses are charting, of course, and I think I showed you how to maneuver a little bit here in charting, how to change the symbol, how to use the up arrow and the down arrow to squeeze and expand, how to add studies, enable alerts, and then we moved over to radar screen to be able to identify symbols that were giving you real-time alerts on certain indicators. We found that to be very valuable. And then we switched over here to the matrix to put in some orders. What I want you guys to do is to practice. I want you to go into the simulator so you don't risk any of your capital and practice the functionality. And that way, you can get a good grasp over what TradeStation allows you to do. And maybe it'll trigger questions and you can join me on any of my getting started and we can talk about things that you want to learn about, So let me go ahead and open up the floor to Q&A and let's talk about things that you would want to see demonstrated right here on the TradeStation platform. I'm getting some questions here. Mike is asking, when the Matrix app is open, how do I change the symbol? Same way that we did it on the chart. It's just a matter of typing it in. So right now, if you look at the symbol, I'm looking at Bank of America. If I want to switch this to, let's say, Johnson & Johnson, I just type in J&J. You see how the command line pops up. I press enter, and now I'm looking at Johnson & Johnson. If I want to see Spider, SPY, enter, and then it changes to Spider. It's just a matter of just typing the symbol and hitting enter. You can also, bundle this with a watch list. Let me go to apps, open up a radar screen. All right, and I'm going to put my radar screen right here on the right-hand side. Let's say that you can have a custom list of symbols here or something pre-packaged. Let me go here and add the Dow Jones. All right, so these are the 30 stocks that make up the Dow Jones. If I want to see, and once I have a list of symbols, I just link them. Link my matrix, just click on the S to my radar screen. Just make sure that they're on the same color. And if I want to see a chart of Coca-Cola, for example, just click on KO. Well, not a chart. If I want to see a matrix of Coca-Cola, I just click on KO, and this uploads automatically to that symbol. Okay. More questions? Anybody else has a question? Yeah, some of the information that you find right here on the top of the matrix, personally, I would simplify. For example, the trade size and the trade exchange may be things that I'm not really that interested in. I know that regulators wanted TradeStation to display some of this information so that it's very visible to all traders, like the bid size and the ask size. If you want to remove any of these items, all you need to do is go to settings and go to is it columns? Yeah, columns. Yeah, columns and go to the quote bar. The quote bar is right there at the top of the matrix. Let me go to the quote bar and right here, selected. You can remove anything you don't need. For example, I'm going to remove the trade size, the trade exchange, ask size, ask, bid size, and bid. And I'm going to click OK. So now it simplifies the view a little bit here. And now you have access to some of your position information, like your open P&L, closed P&L, and cumulative P&L. So that's information that I'd like to see more prominent right here on the top of my matrix. Okay. See, how do you perform hotkeys? Carol, are you referring to, because I mean, hotkeys it's a functionality inside of TradeStation where you can program certain keys to do certain actions. Those actions can be a specific command, or it can also be an order entry type of command. Are you looking for hotkeys to trade specifically, like to just press a hotkey and place a trade on your TradeStation? So to trade, what I recommend you do, Carol, is to go to a chart. You know, this is a chart of Microsoft. There's a chart trading utility that is enabled by clicking on the button right here on the toolbar. It's called chart trading. This enables a trade bar here on the right-hand side, very similar to the one we saw in the matrix, but this allows you to place trades directly on the chart. There is a keyboard trading functionality checkbox down here that allows you to place trades using using hotkey. Now, if I click on the ellipsis, it allows me to look at what keys are mapped here. I'll give you an example. So here we have buy at market. I've mapped mine to Control M. You can edit or add a new hotkey if you want to. So Control M allows me to buy at market. So let me go ahead and click OK. With keyboard trading enabled, and I can notice that it's enabled because I see that orange line right here around my trade bar. I'm able to do Control M, order fill, and get filled on a trade. Notice that I just bought 100 shares of Microsoft, and it shows me that information right there on the chart. I've mapped my sell, see right here, sell at market, Alt M. So Control M is to buy at market, Alt M is to sell at market. Those are my preferred keys. You can assign it to any key you want. But since I already have a position here on Microsoft, if I press Alt M, order fill, it fills my order and it sells the 100 shares of Microsoft because that's the chart that I have open. So if you're interested in keyboard trading, take a look at this checkbox and all the different actions that you can map a key to. I think you'll enjoy that. So for anybody that wants a little bit more of faster execution with the keyboard, I know there are a lot of traders that enjoy that. We have that functionality right here instead of chart trading. Take a look at that and let me know if you have any questions on specific examples and I can show you, But by unchecking this, that disables keyboard trading. So Control M doesn't buy anymore. So it's a good thing. It's like a safety that's there. You have to literally turn it on in order to trade. Yeah, Musa, I missed your question. I'm sorry about that. I noticed the crossover pop-up also indicated bullish bearish. How was this generated? Okay, I think you're referring to the pop-up that we saw in the chart. So I removed let me go here to studies, add studies, and add the moving average 2 lines that we were just looking at just a moment ago. And I'm going to turn on the alert here. Okay, so let me go ahead and uncheck these. And let's take a look at alerts. So if I click on any of these, oh, this is going to be 5 minutes. There we go. So I believe you're talking about this message right here that says bullish alert. Yeah, and the question is, how was this generated? Well, every technical indicator that's built into TradeStation has alert already programmed into it. This message that says bullish alert is built into the indicator itself. So if the fast crosses above the slow, which is what's happening right here, is considered a bullish alert. And if the opposite happens, then this message would say bearish alert. But that's all pre-programmed into the indicator. For those of you that are interested in the inner workings of these studies, you're going to be very interested in easy language. Easy language is what drives all indicators and strategies inside of TradeStation. So if I right click on any of these lines that I'm looking at, I have the ability to edit the easy language for the moving average 2 lines. This will take me to the programming side of this indicator. But this is what drives that indicator. And if I scroll towards the bottom, you can see that there's a section that says alert criteria. And it says if the fast average crosses over the slow average, then alert. And this is where the message is bullish and bearish. So it's pre-programmed into the indicator based on the alert. If it's crossing over or crossing under, it will generate a specific message. Of course, these messages can be customized as well. So if you want the message to say something else, you can just, put whatever message inside those quotations. And that's exactly what the pop-up message will say. And this goes not only for the moving average, but for any indicator or any idea that you may be thinking of. You can build it inside of TradeStation and have it track, alerts and give you messages like that. Barbara has a question. Barbara, did I answer your question? Or did you raise your hand accidentally? Okay, let me know right there, okay? Any other questions? All right. So yes, I usually open up the floor for Q&A, at the end of the presentation. So if you're using TradeStation, if you're just getting started, I know that while you're using the platform, there's going to be many questions that come up. Write those questions down. We are meeting inside of the getting started sessions every Wednesday at 10 in the morning. Well, of course, there are going to be some exceptions, and just look at the schedule. And if there's an opening session, then join us. Usually on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. in the morning. So join us for Q&A and we can answer your questions after our scheduled presentation. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for giving us some of your time. And I hope that as you learn TradeStation's technology, it just becomes a little bit more easier to trade with our tools. So thank you so much for being supportive of our business. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.